In this video, I'm answering the top 3 questions that I get asked the most about learning to fly. I get these questions when I'm just out and about in my community, whether I'm at my kid's school, in the neighborhood, at church, somewhere that somebody knows that I've been a pilot for a really long time. Maybe that's you. If you're considering learning to fly, or maybe you have a friend or relative that is, I'm hopeful that these questions and these answers can provide a little bit of insight for you. But you know what? It's a beautiful day to be standing in the hangar talking. I say we take this conversation up in the air.
All right, thanks for coming with me. What an awesome day to go fly. Let's talk about those top 3 questions I'm often asked about learning to fly. All right, number 1 question, where do I recommend taking flight lessons? Well, my advice on this is going to be simply to find a school that's geographically closest to you, provided that it has good reputation, obviously. So learning to fly is going to take up a considerable amount of time, so minimizing your travel to and from your flights is going to help maximize your actual training time that you have. And as far as how to best locate a school in your vicinity, I'm going to recommend that you check out the Flight School Finder. It's an online directory of flight training places provided by AOPA, which is Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association. And while you're there on their website, take them up on their free student pilot membership that they have, where you can gain access to countless other pilot resources to help you along this journey. Personally, I find that the Flight School Finder, it's an efficient way to see all your options, of which many you may not even realize are in your area. And of course, you can always follow that up with a quick Google search, just simply typing flight schools near me. Of course, here you're going to find a lot of the same options, while also getting some good customer reviews on Google. I'll put a link below to this Flight School Finder directory, and I hope you find it helpful. Number 2, how long does it take to learn to fly? Well, how long it takes is tied directly to how often you can fly, how quick you learn, the weather, the congestion of the airport and the airspace that you train in. I've seen people become private pilots in as little as a few months, and others where it would take up to a year. If you plan to go on and continue your training after your private pilot certificate and acquire all the other necessary qualifications to fly professionally, you can plan on at least a year of training if you can do it full time, and obviously longer if only able to do it part time. Becoming a pilot is going to involve acquiring a lot of information and turning that information into a very precise skill set. Although it is possible to become a private pilot in a short amount of time, rushing yourself to make it happen is probably not a good idea. The FAA actually sets the minimum amount of time required, but this can often be misleading. For example, the FAA only requires 35 to 40 hours of actual flight experience. However, that does not mean that you're going to be proficient to the FAA standards in that amount of time. The national average is probably somewhere closer to 60 flight hours to become a private pilot, and this doesn't include your ground school time. All right, number 3. How much will it cost to learn to fly? Well, unfortunately, the cost of operating aircraft has been on the rise like most other things in life. And even though the cost is certainly more now than it used to be to become a pilot, the same rewards for achieving the accomplishment, they still remain the same. Most schools charge by the flight hour for both aircraft rental and your instructor, and these rates can really vary depending on the age and the type of aircraft that you're in, as well as the school that you're at. In addition to the aircraft and the instructor fees, you're going to need a ground school class, whether in person or online. You're going to need a written test, an FAA medical certificate from a doctor, and your final exam. And depending on all the variables that we previously discussed, you should be able to accomplish this training and become a private pilot for approximately $10,000 to maybe $13,000. If you continue on with your training and acquire all the other certificates and ratings to pursue a career as a professional pilot, you can expect to spend upwards of $100,000. Now I know that sounds incredibly expensive and way out of reach for many. There are countless scholarships out there at educational loan options to help you out. And this is going to be an excellent investment in your future. It's also going to pay big dividends later. In future videos, I hope that we can dive deeper into some of these questions. There's certainly much more to discuss. These are only a few ways to learn to fly, but probably the most common. Later, I'd like to discuss things such as college aviation, military, purchasing your own aircraft, and some financing options. Well, thanks so much for coming flying with me today. I hope these questions and answers provided just a little bit more insight for you. If I can do anything to help you, please leave a comment below. I'll do anything I can to answer your questions and help you in your journey. For now, I'm going to head back to the airport, and we'll see you in the next video.